I believe intuition is your superpower. It's a superpower you have, I have, we all have. And when you can integrate it with persistence and a healthy dose of critical thinking skills, whoa, you become unstoppable in realizing your dreams and making manifest what it is you want in your life. Hi, my name is Ken Coscia, and I'm the International Training Director for the Silva Method. I've been in this field for 50 years, helping people to awaken their intuition and to develop it through the Silva Method. We now call it Life and Intuition System Immersion. However, in reading this book today, it's a story about Jamie Kern Lima, the founder of IT, the cosmetic company that went through the roof. I knew vaguely her story, but after reading just the first 35 pages this morning, I have to say, if this is a preview of what's to come, it is packed with takeaways, helpful insights, and truly a modern day hero here, this young woman. She calls it the book Believe It. Seems like worth reading. So for example, why do I bring this up when we talk about intuition being your superpower? Right up front, she's saying she heard since she was 12 and then moving on into adult life, this inner whisper about what she called her intuition, her gut feeling, her hunch, about making a difference, that women can be beautiful, can be more than enough, regardless of their size, shape, their weight, or whatever difficulties, skin deteriorate, whatever might be going on in their body. Let's just put it that way. And it's quite an interesting story, and I'll leave her to tell her story because it's her story, not mine. But as she had this idea, she had an inspiration that she felt that there were women that looked just like her, that felt she suffered from a disease of her skin, that she was always embarrassed to go out. And she felt that there were so many women who were just like her, and yet we're all being sold to the false illusion, the Hollywood or the marketing illusion of people who are airbrushed in perfect shape, perfect size, flawless skin. And that's what it means to be beautiful. That's what it means to be enough. Of course, that's ridiculous. You know that, I know that, and yet it's kind of a social hypnosis, isn't it? So I really admire Jamie Kearns Lima. I admire her for her courage. And she had a vision. And she had a vision that, not about having a billion-dollar company, but a vision about making a difference in helping people to be at peace with themselves. Women, I would say men also too, to feel good about themselves, to have better self-image, and not be so self-conscious about how they look, their size or their shape, or anything else going on in their body. Not to get caught up in that illusion. And it's a story about this whisper, she calls it, her inner whisper, this voice about doing this idea. And she went from one expert to another expert and another expert and the giant cosmetic companies, and she kept hearing, no, 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 this will never sell. No one's interested. Wow, talk about courage. And she's very candid about and authentic about her story, that the tears and the upset and the disappointment and nearly going bankrupt, and her and her husband putting in hundreds of hours. Here's a takeaway. They put in hundreds of hours planning, strategically planning, researching, running clinical trials on their product to make sure that it did produce what it would produce. They had a business plan, set up a business plan, and even a wonderful PowerPoint presentation, and they begged, borrowed from whoever would lend them. And again, nearly went bankrupt. But they kept persisting. She refused to take no for an answer. When you have a life vision like that, and you believe it will make a difference in the lives of other people, in your own life, in your family, that's what it takes. And with that vision, it's a guiding force. And she even mentions about praying to God for guidance, to show her the way, to make the right moves. Again, fascinating. A lot of different steps. It wasn't just a fluke with that. And it's interesting, her story about QVC and no after no, and then finally she got the shot at it. And even though it was a sellout and she was on many, many, many times, it took 6 years for some of the big companies, 2 years for some, 2 to 3 years, and some 6 years before they finally wanted to sell her product. These giant cosmetic companies. Interesting. And here's an example of persistence in action. So persistence doesn't mean just plain out stubbornness. It means that you have a plan, that you prepare, that you take care of yourself. You do whatever it takes. You make sure you're supportive of your family while you work on your dream, whether it takes 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, or 100 years to accomplish. And I say that just for effect, of course. It won't be here in 100 years. But you hear what I'm saying with that. And it's interesting to me how one of my loves, my passions, in the Silva Method, we teach people in the immersion of life and intuition system how to awaken with unquestionable proof your intuition. And then we develop applications to direct it to make better decisions, wiser decisions, to be more and more in what some people might call the right place at the right time, or so-called good luck, where it seems like the universe has got your back, that flow state. And in my opinion, this is where she was at. Obviously, she had some training. In the forward of the book, she gives credits. It's like a who's who in the industry and famous people. So she was not afraid to ask for help. She was not afraid to merge ideas. So she put to practice her critical thinking skills, her objective mindset, her logic, her reasoning, her business sense, if you will, even though she was new at it, with following this dream, this passion. And that was the guiding force that made it all worthwhile, that got her up in the morning, that kept her persisting. So again, my friends, the message is trust your gut, trust your intuition. And it's just interesting how Jamie makes mention that, but it's important to know the distinction between those who have you back and those who don't. Those who are objecting just for the sake of objecting, and those who, because they don't have the data. So for experts, often they don't have the data. It hasn't come true yet. They know what they know based on their experience up to now. And history is full of illustrations of people like that. Whenever there's a new idea, breakthrough idea, it's usually greeted with a horrible, I'll call it, huge resistance to change, because it goes against the mainstream or what we know to be true based on the evidence, based on what science knows today. That's our story. I'm the senior most instructor in the Silva organization. I'm the most consistent person. 50 years I've been doing this work. I can tell you some stories. I started 71, but in 1966 and all through the 70s, even into the early 80s, oh my God, everybody and their mothers was criticizing what used to be called Silva Mind Control, and Jose Silva, the founder, and questioning and doubting and attempting to write exposés, although it worked out in our favor because they went to the courses and I guess loved it because they went in intending to write an exposé and then wound up telling about their incredible experience of breakthroughs and turning their life around and improving the quality of their health and their learning capabilities and improving their business and relationships and so on and so forth with that. So the point I'm making here is that what are your ideas? What is maybe your dream? And yes, you do need advice. Yes, you do want to consult with people. Yes, you do want to consult with the experts. You do want to learn from those who've been there before you and have done it, have actually had the experience, by comparison to someone who doesn't have the experience, but they have the science and they're limited only by what they know up to now. And by the way, in this field, every year science is changing. And every year things that were thought to be impossible, woo-woo, have become possible and are being documented, with evidence from brain scans. And perhaps you know that. So persistence is about commitment. It's about failure is not an option, and that we do what we need to do. So a quick example of that, I really resonate with this, I guess, because when I started, I was flunking out of college at Boston University. And I never heard of stuff like this. And a dear friend told me about Silva. And if you know my story, by using what I learned in the Silva Method, something called the 3 fingers technique, and it's about learning how to learn. It's about super learning, accelerated learning. And it's the most copied, most imitated process. So many people give all these short versions, mini versions, condensed formats. It's actually a 4-day training. very precise training based on evidence and based on research that Mr. Silva did. I went through that program. I became a straight A student. I was a full-time instructor. While I was a full-time student, I was studying less. And all throughout my life, I've used this as a guiding principle. But I never ran a business, and here I am. I have my own business. It's a mission that happens to also be a business. And I made more mistakes. And I found myself needing to what? Wait tables for a couple of years, load trucks for UPS, do things that were not in my life vision, but that what? Generated the revenue to pay the bills. While I learned the lessons, while I improved and mastered my skills, while I did whatever I need to do so that I could succeed in presenting this incredible program to the world. And all throughout my career, I found that to be true. So again, when you have a vision, a life vision that you resonate with, and I recommend every day, spend a little bit of time quieting yourself. Ideally, close your eyelids, a few slow, deep belly breaths, and just mentally rehearse, visualize. She mentions this in the book also too, how she used to visualize, sold out, big, hoorays for her. It helps because when you have a clear vision like that and you're clear about your intention, and once you own it emotionally, that's when the magic happens, because then you begin to elicit ideas, synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that you have to listen to and follow through with that help you to realize your goal. So it's really a combination of the two. So my friends, what's your life vision? What's important to you? What are some of your values? And what's it going to take to make that happen? So be sure to hone, get the right training to improve your intuition so that you can distinguish between intuition you can count on and when it's nothing more than wishful thinking or fear. There's a big difference, and it's a slippery slope, but yet you can with the right training and practice and development. So stay tuned for more. And my name again is Ken Coscia. If you'd like to find more information out about myself, my work, you'll find me in social media. You'll find me on my website, silvamethodct.com. I'd love to connect with you, share more. Have a great day, and remember, you are far more than what you appear to be. In fact, I believe you're better. It is my hope that with that message, you will continue to do good, make a difference, have lots of fun while you're doing it, and thrive.